Right, so we've just had the Fall Major, and I'm going to be analysing some of the better series from the event. I asked everyone in the last stream I did which series they wanted to see, and one of the popular votes and one of the games that I really wanted to watch as well myself was Oxygen versus Faze. Now, Oxygen were looking unbelievable in the Swiss. I think this was the best they've ever looked. They were looking to be the potential winners of the tournament. You know, they got the crowd behind them, everything going in their favour. And they narrowly missed out to Faze in what was quite a weird back and forth series. If you look at these results, when we look at these results, you can see that the 6-1 domination, the 5-1 domination were the only ones where goals went in. So we could pretty much say that this is a straight up wash out across the whole series, because generally these 1 goals will be coming in, I assume, through overcommitments and things like that. So these aren't really like big goals to worry about. I might be mistaken. They might have come in early on in the game. Just have a look at that. Let's first work that out. So when you look at these ones here, this was when they were 3-0 down, they scored this goal, and this was when they were 4-0 down. So these goals, I would say, aren't particularly impactful goals. So ultimately, there was no impactful goal for the team that was behind in this series. And I want to see why that is. Both Faze and Oxygen, known for their creative offense, their ability to pass and break teams down, and sometimes lacking a bit of defense. Faze a little bit more defensive now, they've got missed in. But at this event, they were particularly aggressive, and it was something they were doing very well. But I want to see what went wrong for both these teams. So when we look at the stats, that's probably going to be the first point to look at. And it's going to be quite hard to check with the stats because we won't be able to compare it to the games where they won and lost. I'd almost wish I could break this down and get some stats developed around the stats for winning versus the stats for losing. But we might be able to see the overall underperformers in this series. And I think one that stands out straight away is Joria's. Just looking here on this first page, you can see not a huge amount of points. He looked unbelievable in the Swiss stage. Only, I mean, a lot of assists to be fair, but you know, like, Joria's was not dominating as much as we saw from him in the past. And, like, the fact that Joria's was getting a lot of assists and Oli and Archie weren't getting a lot of assists, to me, that's an imbalance in the team. Like, they're relying on someone else to finish or someone else to be the one who breaks them down. So we could also point the finger at the other guys and be like, you're not getting enough assists that make it easy for your teammates. So I am concerned about this imbalance. I think it's always best to see a little bit more of a share in the workload. Otherwise, you rely on the perfect timing and combination of people in offense. For Faze, everyone, you can see a lot more balanced on their side. First killer actually getting a lot of saves, so playing a bit more goal line. Classic first killer getting so many points. And yeah, I think outside of that, I think the main thing is just the imbalance in Oxygen's offense. It all seems to be very weighted towards individuals to succeed in an aspect of it. And then let's see here. Boost-wise, first killer always amazing average boost. Oli, typically low boost with pads. Mist tends to rotate deep, gets 100, so he's got a similar sort of composition to Nolly. Sipical needs to be a little bit higher, I'd say, for what he's trying to achieve as a player. First killer's just so good at keeping his boost. Like, he doesn't pick up a huge amount of boost. Like, he's more of a big pad picker-upper, but he manages to save so much boost whenever he does anything. And this is quite low for Archie as well, I'd say, which we might see in some of their other stats. But, like, nothing crazy here. I would just say that maybe Sipical needs a higher average amount and Archie needs a higher average amount. But yeah, nothing on the boost suggesting foul play. Nothing too crazy on Faze's side. Misplaying very deep. Sipical and First sort of quite aggressive together as a duo. Nothing too deep there, I'd say. Stats-wise, everyone's moving at a pretty good speed. Looking at the boost, there needs to be more boost maintained by Archie, more boost gathered and maintained by Oli. For Sipical, he needs a bit more boost and so on. So I do think boost will be a factor here. But so much of it is seeing it, right? Because it might look completely different in game, right? See, like this right here. This is just concerning inefficiency, right? That to me is not, that's not good, because now look, right? You see just instantly, that's just so much wasted boost. And I feel like it comes from a lack of trust. Like right here, Oli is a bit too close, to be fair. It's been caught off guard by Sipical there. So I think this... So this side Oli is pretty poor, right? Gives away a point-blank range shot. This is not very good by Oli at all. Where's Joria's in this whole thing? Joria's quite all in. Goes via pads. That's all pretty good. I think Joria's has done fine here. Bit of a wasted possession in a way there. But like, if we look and we see Archie's decision to waste all this boost here, right? This to me is an indicator of, oh my god, everything's burning at the back, right? That's a sign that the moment that Oli made that mistouch, maybe it comes out in comms, maybe it comes out just in general, but to me that shows that they're panicking suddenly. And you can see this whole defensive structure. You can look at their boost amounts above me, right? Their boost just disappears so quickly. Like, Archie's now got 100. But there's no stabilization, you know? Like, they're instantly back on the attack, right? And this is okay, we're only 30 seconds in and people are going to think I'm just out against Oxygen. And obviously this is the first 30 seconds of a quarterfinal. There's going to be nerves and stuff. But it's the same story in all the games where they're struggling, is they're too aggressively trying to force goals in situations where they shouldn't. Now, they had amazing games like the Gen G series where it worked, and that's because Gen G weren't able to deal with it, and so it will work to a certain extent. But the over-aggressive playstyle, I just don't think is sustainable. I think Faze, to be honest, are similarly bad at doing this, right? They frequently over-aggress and frequently get too forceful in situations where they just need to take a moment to reset the play and get themselves back in control. You see, like this exact decision making here, right? Oli is just 50-50 the opponents, right? Has been demoed. There is now 2 players on the pitch. Joria's with 0 boost, Archie with 100, right? Joria's at this point turns and flips towards the play with 0 boost. You see, on this occasion, no one panics from Faze because they're ready for it, right? They don't panic. They just try and do an outplay. Almost works out. Doesn't quite work out, but it could have worked out. For some teams in this situation, when Joria's flips towards the play here, they would panic. And that's where the composure under pressure is so key against a team like Oxygen. Same thing with Liquid as well. Is these super aggro offensive teams. If you're composed, you can just wait patiently and deal with them. And on that occasion, I think you could see the kind of trend of what would happen. The advantage that Oxygen have is they do have such a threatening offense. So when they do get the teams broken down, they score goals. So like if we go ahead here to this passage of play here. Right, they're in defense right now, right? Good little play by Archie. Good little play by Archie. Some good 50s. Weirdly... Okay, this goal was weirdly like... Like, do you see how different this play is from Archie? 20 boost 50, 20 boost 50, right? Wait for a mistake. Force out a mistake, right? And okay, they made a mistake. First killer probably should have got that. They wouldn't have got the goal otherwise. But do you see how just that little passage of play from Archie was neutral game decision making around breaking the opponent down, like trusting your 50-50s, trusting your opponents to come in, bait them in, force them to overcommit a little bit. Okay, so this is a bit of a dud game, but you can see generally where the success came for Oxygen was not around their aggressive offense, but the moments where they decided not to do it. Right? Okay, they almost concede here. Let's be real, they almost concede here. So, like, we're not saying this is the way you should play Rocket League, being on the edge of conceding. We see a mixed up 50-50, Archie just tipping it on into space, being patient, chilling out. Joria's forcing the ball, Oli playing off of it, getting a 50-50, puts a lot of pressure on the final defender, and you start building that pressure on. Okay, Cypical made a big mistake, but you get the gist of it, right? Their goals both came from neutral game decision making, where the majority of their play is around aggressive, forceful offense. So I want to see these goals here. Again, just waiting by Oli there. Well weighted. Smart by Jorius to go for the crossbar there. So maybe the assists that we saw aren't as indicative of Jorius underperforming, but more around him being composed to look for the pass rather than the shot at times. Could be the case. Just another kickoff goal, nothing too deep. Okay, right here, I do feel like Faze should be able to score this, right? This is a big advantage position right now. First killer missed, 2v1 against Jorius. Sypical closely following behind. Archie Oli 0 boost, right? There should be a world where they're able to turn this into a goal, but just a heavy touch from first killer. I know first killer has 0 boost here. Sypical has none, Mist has some. But like this whole scenario is a great scenario for Faze to potentially score. You can see where the wasted boost came out there. And it's just an overcommit. Because they tried counter-attacking with 0 boost. Got hard dunked and then it turned into a goal again. So, first goal was good offense that shortly after a kickoff that broke down Faze. Second goal, kickoff goal. Third goal, Faze overcommitment. So at this point, Oxygen are winning, but not comfortably, right? Like, they're still not looking like the Oxygen that beat Gen G. Bit of a mistake here. Sypical, good touch. Joria's mistake. Leads to a goal. This is great. So this is neutral gameplay right here, right? Oli forces the ball by bumping first, getting a boost steal, following through the bump lines, and then sets up Joria's for a free touch. Right? This is prime neutral game material right here. Jorius as well, very good at keeping his boost here. Beautiful stuff. That's really good play there by Oxygen. And you can see, like, if they combine a bit more of this neutral game stuff with their over-aggressive style, then I think they will be in a really good spot. I think they just have to learn how to balance the two together. Maybe that'll come from a change of players. Maybe they feel like it's not because of their decision making, but maybe they're not fully trusting in someone in the composition. Maybe they need to rethink the way they play, a bit of coaching, something like that. As far as Faze are concerned, I would say Faze are doing a lot of the same kind of things we were just talking about with Oxygen early on. They definitely compose themselves after a timeout. So big shout out to Roll Diz, Coach Diz coming through. But yeah, like a lot of it just comes down to composure, right? Teams just need to be more composed at lands. And like you can see right here, this is much more composure here from Faze, right? So we're waiting out here. First killer solo play. Sip just leaves it for Mist. Mist takes a touch. Sypical comes in, takes a shot. They're just waiting patiently. And that's just like, let's just calm it down, guys, moment. And they punish Oxygen for their panic defense. Let's see what happens here. Good patience there by Mist to wait and watch. Lovely stuff. Very good counter-attack. So again, very all-in by Oxygen. The moment it doesn't work, like one touch can take it away and they concede, right? Juri's intercepted. Sypical's intercept takes multiple players out of the game. Oh, that is just beautiful Rocket League by Sypical. Right here, Sypical takes 2 players out of the game. Follows through, gets the boost, gets a bump. So much value from Sypical right there. Gets another bump. Comes in and finishes off. That is exquisite neutral game Rocket League. Yeah, so you see the composure being a lot better here for Faze in this game. They're much more willing just to be patient. Right, this game's shot. Like, this is the problem with these games, is they're shot before they're done. Right, like they're so done after 2.5 minutes. Because neither team has worked out to come back in this series. So this one's a weird one, because I thought once Oxygen were getting beaten, I was like, okay, that's it, it's chalked, right? It's done. But then Oxygen came back in this game and they managed to win it. Let's see what happens. Oh my god. It's so all in. Like, great play by Archie. But like, that's just so all in. And it works. Like, how has this worked? Like, Oli shouldn't be going for this. Good boost spawn timing. And like, from Faze's point of view, they're probably just thinking like, how has that worked, you know? So this mistake here by Sip is what leads to the goal, I believe. Good execution though by Oxygen, to be fair to him. Great shot there by Jorias. Forced a tough save out of first. Oli's always lurking. So you got to respect Oxygen for punishing. This is game 5. So you got to respect Oxygen for their ability to punish people's mistakes. Like, they have such good offense for that. And they create those mistakes through scrappy environment. But then what they really need to do is be able to play the neutral game to create unfavorable environments for their opponents. And right now it just doesn't feel like they create those unfavorable environments often enough. But generally, I would say Faze's game plan has more potential long term, right? There's some things to fix, and I'm sure they'll work on them. And like, their team structure seems more complete, but I just don't know. Like, maybe they're sick of coming 4th. Maybe FaZe is sick of being 4th all the time, so they might make a change. Who knows? Let me know who you guys would, in Twitch chat now and in the comments on YouTube, who you would change from FaZe, and if you would at all. Would you try and commit to this? Would you try and Sipical out? Oh, I personally wouldn't change. I reckon there is potential for a major winning team here, a world champion winning team here. I think they just need to work on their structure, because it's when their structure breaks down that they look bad. Like, individually, they're incredible as a team, right? They've got all the components of a world champion team, except for the structure. I think that's enough. Like, you guys get the gist of the series. If we go watch the other two, it will just be a similar kind of thing of watching FaZe control the game.